We have a question about, so the last two steps seem to come a lot about self-confidence,
Yes.
about confidence in yourself. Do you have any tips on how to build that self-confidence?
Yeah, no question. No question about it. What I've seen over the years is the reason why people aren't confident is because they're not prepared. So what I'm trying to say is the more you repeat and you build your messaging, or you get up in front of a mirror and you practice, or you practice going down, talking. I talk out loud all the time. I think talking out loud is one of the best things you can do and really fine tune your conversation or your presentation or your task that you want to do. The more prepared you are, the more confident you are. That's a very easy solution, because if you're an expert of something, you're confident. Well, how'd you become an expert? Well, it's because you became well-versed. You understood it. You read about it. You practiced it. But you can't practice enough. You have got to practice your art. And so the more you practice and the more you're prepared, the more you are confident. And confidence is equal to success, because people see that confidence when you walk in a room. People see that, they feel it. There's an aura about you. There's something about you when you walk around somebody and you know exactly that person either is confident or they're not. So I believe it's really connected to, so I would say is if most people that I've seen that are self-confident use it because of their lack of preparation. And by the way, a side note, I'm as honest today as long on this. I will give you everything I know, but I'll be honest. I'm not going to say something that just to say it, number one. Another thing is everything we've talked about so far, I've been there, done that. So I would never expect you to do something if I haven't done it myself already. So.
Great. So we have a question about social media, and
yes,
what's a good way to, I guess, apply the techniques to your social media, your Facebook, Twitter, all that.
Yeah, I don't believe that Facebook's a good environment for personal stuff. People get too private on Facebook. I'm not sure how to sell on Facebook. It's okay. I don't think you get the range of what you need on Facebook. I think it's a free advertisement. I guess I'd go for it and put something on there. I'm not a fan of social media in some senses. I don't believe we've hired people and fired people because of social media, what they put on social media. I'm a fan of LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn is a professional site that you can connect with people, that you can actually look for people. You can also work your businesses. I'm a fan of that, of LinkedIn, those kind of things like that. But I'm not a huge fan of Facebook because I think it's been overused and people have gone too far with, in my opinion, the private stuff. And be careful what you put on Facebook, especially if you're looking for a job. So.
Oh, I'm surprised that you said that you you didn't like Facebook, but
yeah, I'm not a fan. I don't believe it hits the mark that you think all the time. It was originally supposed to be to catch up with people, but it's turned into a voice for things I don't agree that should be put on there, for religion and politics and things that I think should be left off of Facebook. And by the way, another thing is I always said this when it's obviously the number one thing is, just brought up something in my mind, is be face to face. I believe that's always going to be the best. 30 years from now, if you can get in front of somebody, it's always the number one thing to do, get face to face. Obviously with COVID-19, the way we move on, that's may be changing. So the next best thing is if you're not getting your answer, I always said this about emails and text messages. Yes, they're wonderful. Yes, they're wonderful. But unless you tell someone in a text message or an email that you love them, unless you tell them that, they get interpreted so differently. They get interpreted so differently. So I tell everyone, don't go back and forth if you're fighting on email or you're confusing on something's going on and someone pissed you off, sorry, or made you upset. Pick up the darn phone. People do not want to pick up the phone and solve problems. You can pick up the phone and solve an email issue or a conversation by text in 30 seconds. And I'm telling you, people don't want to pick up the phone and say, hey, Bob, I just got this text message from you or this email from you. I'm a little confused because I'm telling you again, unless you tell someone you love them and they're the greatest thing since sliced bread in a text message or an email, that's not going to be interpreted positively. Everybody reads into a text message differently, and everybody reads into an email differently. So pick up the phone and quickly you'll solve it. You'll get everything on the table quickly. But we don't do enough of that.
Wow. Great. So here's a good question. So let's say you're trying to get into a market, it's already saturated. How do you create a positive presence within that market so that you can, so you can start making a living in that market?
Okay, a couple things. Willing to also build or buy or get something that's different for the market. So yeah, market can look at two ways. A market's saturated, so either go somewhere else for with a different product or a different concept, different whatever, go that direction. Are you willing to, to put your neck out there and bring in other technology? So that's one thing you can look at. Okay, if it's saturated, the other way is, are you selling a commodity? So if you're selling a commodity and you're in that saturated market, fair enough, people are going to buy from who they like then. So what you do is you go back into that market. Yes, you got the same widget or the same whatever as someone else does. So who's going to win? The person's going to win. So the person's got the relationship, or the person they buy from who they like, or those kind of things like that. So I've seen both. Is there enough room for a number of players? Have you done your homework? If it's a saturated market and we're company A and we're in that saturated market, is there enough room for us? Have we done our homework, our research to know, yeah, there is enough room. We can survive. We can have a nice business. Then if that's the case, then you got to start building those relationships. You got to figure out the value you add that's different from somebody else. And I told you right out of the gate when we first started this call, what's the value? It's you. You will separate yourself from everybody else if everything else is equal. If everything else is equal and that's in that market, you as a person, or what you add, the value that you add will separate you from. So you've got to distance yourself from that person, whether that's your personality, your empathy, your sympathy, the genuineness, your sincerity, your follow-upness, as I call it, your follow-throughness. If they know that you care about them more than the sale, you ever heard that? People should not really sell to anybody. If you care enough and you want a problem solved, you will sell something. But if you're worried just about the sell and not the person, you're not going to have that long-term business, and you're not going to have that long-term relationship. So,
I just want to say this. You just reminded me, the ISBDC, so the Cook Center, we offer market research analysis for all of our clients. So if you have a market that you're in and you think that it's saturated, or you're interested in what Chip was talking about, maybe going to a different location or something, you can always talk to us, become a client, and we can provide you with some really valuable insight so that you can do that homework to figure out what your next steps can be.